Hey everybody, this is basically a follow-up to my video on why you should quit weed. People really liked it when I was talking about just why I quit, but I guess the line is when I start talking to people about why they should quit. A lot of you took this very nicely and were just like, yeah, you have some good points here. But I had some people, my favorite was the dude who was coming out. Got hair in my mouth, hang on a second. Whew. Problem with long hair, get in your mouth sometimes. But the guy who came out and said that I was a leftist, that I was a snowflake or something, that could not be further from the truth. But I guess just anyone who disagrees with this guy is some kind of a communist or something. But I had a lot of people say, mind your own business, and that's fair enough. But you also did click on my video, so I mean, maybe mind your own business, right? But I think there's just some confusion here as to why I'm saying people should quit weed. And I think there's a lot of coping going on. People just not wanting to admit this stuff to be true, which, believe me, that was me for the longest time. I didn't want to admit this was true. I wanted to think it was just fine to keep smoking weed as long as I wanted. But today I came equipped. I got notes and I got coffee. I'm about to school y'all in this graveyard. Gonna put you in the ground. Okay, anybody who is disagreeing with the reasons you should quit weed, except a few. There are some people who were saying, I just do it lightly on the weekends. I'm not a daily smoker. I just do it every once in a while to kind of enjoy hanging out with friends. And still, I think you should probably quit because it's just not worth it. But I do understand that's different from daily usage. And I mean any amount of daily usage. People say, use it less than 3 times a day. No, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times a day you're using it. This matters that you're using it every day. So just right off the bat, I think you should definitely quit if you are a daily user. I don't think that's safe or appropriate. Except in cases of extreme medical difficulty. But in most cases, there are better therapies, even within the cannabinoid family, therapies that do not cause intoxication or addiction. It's just really not worth it, even in cases of extreme medical circumstances. But the main reasons that I say you should stop. Number one, if you have any history of addiction in your family, if you, even your grandpa, great-grandpa was an alcoholic, your grandma, your aunt and uncle, anyone who is genetically related to you, hat's about to fly away, anyone who's genetically related to you, if you have anyone in your family line who has a history of addiction, you are predisposed to become addicted to cannabis. You just are. It's just a fact. You can't avoid it. Just like I can't avoid this wind right now. It's a windy day. I'm gonna try to get the microphone out of the wind, but that's the way it is. So just like I can't avoid the wind, you can't avoid the fact there's addiction in your family, which makes you more predisposed to become addicted to cannabis, which does have physically addictive qualities. Guys, we're not just imagining this when we go through serious withdrawals, where there are shakes and sweats and nausea for days or weeks on end. That's not just in our heads. We're not just imagining that through just losing our teddy bear. No, it has physically addictive properties. And if you have addiction in your family, you should not be smoking weed at all, ever. Also, you should probably avoid it if you have traumatic childhood experiences in your past. If you've been abused or neglected. The neglect thing is huge, honestly, because weed fills that gap in you. It doesn't really get you over your trauma necessarily if you've been abused, but if you've been neglected, if people just didn't love you enough as a child or take care of you properly, weed fills that gap way too well, and you will become addicted. Also, sip of coffee here. If you have any issues with anxiety or depression, you also need to quit today. You need to just not smoke weed ever again, because for a while it will seem like it's fixing those. It will seem like it's helping you with that, but it's not. It's really not. It's not helping you in the long term. It's not helping you in like a genuinely therapeutic way. It's just covering up the issues, making them seem like they've gone away, while the fact is they're gonna come back all the stronger the second you quit. So there we go. Those are my 3 reasons. If you have a genetic predisposition to addiction, if you have traumatic childhood experiences, or if you're suffering from what they call affective disorders, which are mainly anxiety and depression, PTSD, that's tied to the traumatic childhood experiences. If you're dealing with any of that, weed is not for you. And also, if you're using it on a daily basis, that's just a sign that you're addicted. I don't care what people say. They say, oh, I'm holding down a... People are always telling me in the comments what their salary is. They're trying to flaunt their accomplishments. And my response invariably is, well, think about how much more successful you could be if you weren't high off your ass all the time. For people who... Sorry about that. I've just been sick the last few days. For people who are saying, oh, I take care of my family. Well, think about how much better you could take care of your family if you weren't high off your ass all the time. It's pretty simple stuff here. I'm gonna come and sit in this gazebo here for a minute because the wind, I think, is probably getting on the mic and making it sound bad. But yeah, I do make some exceptions, sure. Sure, for people who just kind of do it for fun. I remember it was that way for me when I was like in high school. I just did it occasionally with my friends. But you know, that leads to addiction too. If you're not careful, you'll think, well, I feel so good on the weekends hanging out with my friends, smoking a little weed. Why don't I just have some during the week too? And it just escalates from there. So you gotta be careful. I don't care what the studies say. I don't care what all these coping addicts have to say. It is physically addictive. And all of you who in the comments were tripping out and calling me out and saying, you know, mind your own business and stuff like that, you know, I feel you. And I am kind of getting in your business and saying this is how you should live your life. But it's based on not just my personal experience, but the personal experience of thousands and thousands of people who have woken up to the weed psyop. They realize they've been had, they realize they've been played here, and they don't want to deal with it any longer. So let me check my notes here, make sure I covered everything. Yeah, anything that you're using on a daily basis, like if you're drinking alcohol every single day, you know, maybe like 3 to 4 days a week, you're just having like a drink, right? Maybe that's okay. And maybe 3 to 4 days a week, if you're just having like one puff out of a vape, or, you know, one small rip out of a bong, maybe you're okay there too. But the point is that anything you do habitually can lead to addiction. And I can tell from how defensive and angry some of these comments are, there are a lot of people out there who are addicted to cannabis, to THC, but they simply can't admit it. They don't want to admit it. They're lost in the cloud of smoke and they just can't even admit what's going on with them. So it's especially to you guys that this video goes out to. Just keep in mind those 3 rules. Childhood trauma. Weed is going to jump in there and try to fill that gap. It's the main way that the demonic spirit, I called it a plant spirit in one of my earliest videos, and people were thinking I was crazy, but this is not something I just came up with. This is something that goes way back in shamanistic cultures from around the world, believing that there are allies or spirits of some kind in these plants, and they will use that childhood trauma as a leverage point through which to manipulate you. And also, if you have issues with depression and anxiety, weed will seemingly fix that. But really, the main trigger, the main thing you want to watch out for, you know, some families don't have this, but I think, honestly, if we're being honest, pretty much every family, pretty much every bloodline has some degree of addiction in it. In which case, I mean, unless you can go back like 4 generations through all of your blood relations aunts, uncles, etc., cousins, and absolutely none of them have ever had any trouble with addiction, and you're 100% sure of that, it's in your blood and you need to avoid it. Uh, it is physically addictive. You will go through withdrawals. And again, the only exception I make here, honestly, I don't make a medical exemption because there are much better therapies out there. Like I said, even in the cannabinoid family, CBD, CBC, CBG, there are tons of them. Even THCA, the unactivated form of THC, it's so much better for therapeutic conditions. It just doesn't get you high, so people don't want to use it because they just want to get high. So I really don't make a medical exemption there. The only exemption I can make is if someone is really using it casually and within a very like strict set of parameters, like only socially, only on the weekends. But even then, I say you need to watch out because it will creep up on you. This is a deal with the devil. This is Mephistopheles from Faust. This is a demonic spirit trying to trick you into letting it in. And once you do let it in, you're going to have trouble letting it out. So I understand this is triggering material for some people. I have realized that in the comments from my last video. I am here telling you what to do, basically trying to run your life, but I'm just giving you the best advice I can out of a sense of not wanting to control people, but it's a popular topic, so I'm trying to game the algorithm, but also I genuinely want to help. I had to go through this too, where if people told me, it's addictive, you should quit or whatever, I would get very upset and defensive, and I wouldn't believe them. But I went through that journey, and now I'm here to help you guys go through that journey too. So if you appreciate that, please do like the video and subscribe. If you can't wait for more content, click the video down in the corner. And I'll be back soon with more cannabis content. Eventually I'm gonna move on from this a little bit, but right now this is what's hitting the algorithm. I have a lot to talk about here, so expect more cannabis videos in a negative sense, like why you should quit, coming up here in the future. God seriously just bless all of you, even the haters. It's hard. It's really hard to do this. And I just hope that with consistent effort, I can break through to people and help them realize, yes, they are addicted. No, weed is not helping you. And yes, it is time to stop. Thanks, guys. God bless. I'll be back soon.